What's the problem?
Well, it's the same problem that we had yesterday and the day before that. We ought to be doing better.
We have a big problem where we have enormous productivity growth, more and more output, more and more income, more and more wealth in our economy. And the only way that people can get a claim on this is by getting jobs for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, producing stuff that we don't really necessarily need anymore.
We have an economy now that is, increasingly producing plastic surgery medicine instead of basic healthcare medicine. We have an economy that is continuing to burn fossil fuels like there is no tomorrow, even though the scientists have told us that we have 2 short decades to basically get our act in gear here.
Everywhere around us in the world there is evidence of what we sometimes refer to as the industrial march of folly. Sort of business as usual way of working with our environment, resource extractive industries, manufacturing industries that externalize all environmental and social costs.
Sales, they've got to go up. Expenses, they've got to go down.
Industries that have no real connection to the communities and to the people they serve.
This is where we are. We're in the grip of a Wall Street controlled economy, in the grip of what a lot of us call neoliberalism, which is economic policies focused on the well-being of the rich. We want to shift to something else. We need to envision it, but we also need to think about the struggle of getting from here to there.
What does the path forward look like? How are we going to meet the needs of 10 billion people in a world with limited resources?
Well, this new economy stuff, is this, just touchy-feely, garbage, or is there actually something real here?
A lot of people, especially young people, are questioning the idea of work, consume, and what the economy and production and jobs and consumption are really all about.
Got any ideas?
You're darn tootin' I have some ideas.
We really actually would prefer and are capable of carrying out a much more efficient, sustainable way based upon working out ways to engage in equitable cooperation.
The economy of the future is one which is going to be much more a bottom-up economy. It's going to be made up of small and medium-sized enterprises. It's going to be made up of many more community economic enterprises. It's a very kind of diverse, pluralistic, sort of hybridized economy in which there isn't just one dominant form of enterprise.
Now, none of us like crystal gazing, so let's take a look at what is actually happening now.
Largely because of the pain levels and the failure of the economy and all the difficulties at the local level, there's a lot of what I think of as forced innovation, people looking for answers to problems. And so just below the surface, you're finding thousands of worker-owned companies springing up, neighborhood-owned corporations, municipal-owned enterprises, state investment directly into businesses, a whole substructure of cooperatives in general. There are 130 million Americans involved in cooperatives. There's a whole structure of democratic ownership is the best phrase for it, but it's plural, lots of different kinds of things going on around the country. And I think we're going to see some of that bubbling up.
You may find that it can improve the design and performance of your products, or give you an idea for a completely new one.
The purpose of all of this is to enrich local communities. We all live in a place, and the place we live in determines our well-being and the well-being of the people who are closest to us.
I think that leads towards a very different definition of economic well-being and economic growth. It widens our imagination about how the economic system works, and it's inextricably linked to the environmental project, that is, of valuing the environment and seeing that as something that has intrinsic value and merit, as well as the creation of family and community life.
Maybe we work less, but we have better, more interesting jobs, and we're not so focused on material consumption as the be-all and the end-all of what our economic lives are oriented to.
That's the part of the new economy that goes beyond just sort of sensible Keynesian fixes for depressions, sensible financial reform. It's saying we really question the whole basis of whether or not we want to continue to try and operate on the same principles that are increasingly and more obviously failing us.
We are seeing the beginnings of a monumental shift in the economy away from a narrow focus on profit and individual self-interest, which was always overstated, but to new ways of engaging in economic activity that bring people together in what are called peer production models. They're not utopian, they're not pie in the sky, they're actually extremely well-functioning, efficient, enjoyable ways to produce things that now have a track record of many decades.
More jobs and more security for more people in a great and growing industry.
We can see where we should go. It isn't gimmicks, it's not another bubble, it's not another short-term business cycle, it's investing in our sustainable future. It's using the new technologies, it's opening up new vistas.
There is growing interest on the part of people in the new economy to discover, hey, we have workers' cooperatives, we have consumer cooperatives, we have community development corporations. These are economic entities that are operating on a wholly different set of principles with different values and different goals. And I think people are discovering that these ways do work and they work better, and that's what the new economy is about.
I believe in this world to come. I think it's going to be a pretty good world.
At some point, this society may see big changes exploding and looking for new ideas to transform the system over the next decades. But if so, it's going to draw on this kind of developing, democratizing, and ecologically very serious developmental track that's going on quietly at the grassroots level right now.